like a buttercup. You're a Barbie doll. Show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall. Won't stop till I get enough.
All right, so get this. We're going deep today. Deep into hip-hop. Specifically, 50 Cent, Diddy, and Jay-Z. I mean, talk about a power trio. You got your hands on an exclusive interview with 50 Cent. And he's given us some serious insider info. I got to say, even skimming through it, this is going to be good.
Yeah, 50's never been one to hold back. I'm expecting some real gems in here, some real insights into how these industry giants operate.
For sure. So, okay, right off the bat, 50 talks about Diddy, and he drops this little bombshell about a red flag. He noticed way back when they first met. Hooked from that moment on.
Yeah, it's interesting how those early impressions can be so revealing, you know, especially when you look back at how their careers unfolded. So what was this infamous red flag?
Okay, so he noticed Diddy had this habit of just casually name-dropping major players in the music industry before Diddy himself had any real hits or influence.
You know, that's more than just a quirky habit. That speaks volumes about how Diddy understood the game. From the very beginning, he was already crafting this image, this aura of being connected, even if those connections were, well, tenuous at best.
Yeah, it's like he was building his brand before personal branding was even a thing.
Exactly. And for 50 to pick up on that, to recognize the strategy behind it, shows a similar level of awareness. It's almost like he saw a kindred spirit, you know? Someone else who understood that success in this industry is about more than just the music.
Totally. He was sizing up the competition right from the start. So fast forward to today. 50 Cent's overall opinion of Diddy is, let's just say, complicated. We could definitely unpack that more later. But for now, let's jump to the part of the interview where he talks about the allegations against Jay-Z.
Now, this is where things get really interesting. Remember, we're focusing on 50's reaction here, not the details of the allegations themselves.
Right, and his reaction
Yeah.
was completely unexpected. It was almost like he hadn't even heard about these allegations before,
Yep.
which I found pretty surprising.
Yeah, especially given his reputation for being in the know. So either he's been incredibly busy with his various ventures outside of music, or he's made a conscious decision to stay out of this particular drama.
Which, knowing how these things can play out in the media, is probably a smart move.
Absolutely, but what I found fascinating was the way he talked about it. So casual. Almost like he was gossiping with friends, not discussing some potentially career-ending accusation.
Right, there was no sense of judgment or taking sides, just this matter-of-fact observation. And that, I think, speaks volumes about the dynamics between 50 and Jay-Z.
It hints at a certain level of respect, perhaps even a shared understanding of the pressures and scrutiny that come with being at the top. Remember, these are two artists who've built empires, who've weathered countless storms in the public eye. Maybe there's a level of empathy there that we wouldn't see between, say, two up-and-coming rappers.
I think you're right. There's a history there, a shared experience that transcends the typical rivalries we see in the music industry.
Yeah, it's like they're both playing a much longer game, one where maintaining a certain level of decorum, even amidst controversy, is crucial.
Because they both know how quickly alliances can shift, how easily today's enemy can become tomorrow's collaborator.
Right, and in an industry as image-conscious as hip-hop, that kind of foresight is invaluable.
Okay, so we've got Diddy, the master of image building, and Jay-Z, the seemingly untouchable icon, facing some serious heat. And then we have 50 Cent, observing it all with this detached, almost amused perspective.
It's like he's watching a chess game unfold, analyzing every move, but not quite ready to make his own play.
And that, I think, is the real question here. What is 50's endgame? What's he planning?
That's exactly the kind of question we need to keep in mind. As we go deeper into this interview, what does it all mean? How do these seemingly offhand comments fit into 50's larger strategy?
Let's find out.
Yeah, like he's playing poker, holding his cards close to his chest, waiting for the right moment to reveal his hand.
Right, and he's got a pretty impressive hand to play, especially after all these years in the game. I mean, think about it. 50's built an empire that goes way beyond music, film, television, business ventures. He doesn't need to rely on the traditional music industry power structures anymore.
He's created his own power base, and that gives him a certain freedom. You know, a leverage that most artists can only dream of.
Totally. He can afford to be candid, even controversial, because he's not beholden to anyone. And let's be honest, that kind of independence is rare in the music world, especially at that level of success.
It's practically unheard of. And it's that unique position that makes his perspective on Diddy and Jay-Z so valuable. He's not just another artist commenting on his peers. He's offering a glimpse into the inner workings of the industry from a vantage point few others have access to.
Exactly. So going back to that red flag he noticed with Diddy, that early obsession with name dropping, could we be seeing a similar strategy at play with 50 now?
Oh, that's an incredibly astute observation. While 50 isn't exactly name-dropping in the same way Diddy did, he is strategically using these comments, these insights into other high-profile figures to further solidify his own position.
He's elevating himself by engaging with the biggest names in the game, showing that he's on their level, maybe even surpassing them in terms of influence and independence.
He's not just commenting on the game, he's become a commentator, someone whose opinions are sought after, analyzed and debated.
And that shift from player to commentator is fascinating. Makes me wonder if this interview is a sign of things to come. Is he transitioning into a new role, one where he's shaping the narrative of the music industry from a position of authority and experience?
It's certainly a possibility, and it wouldn't be the first time he's reinvented himself. Think about his move into television and film. He didn't just dip his toes in, he became a major player, producing hit shows and starring in critically acclaimed projects.
Right, he's always thinking several steps ahead, and he's not afraid to take risks, to push boundaries.
And that fearlessness, that willingness to disrupt the status quo, is a huge part of his appeal.
It's what keeps us all on our toes, wondering what he'll do next, what bombshell he'll drop in his next interview.
And speaking of bombshells, let's not forget about his reaction to the Jay-Z allegations. We talked about the possibility of strategic distance, but there's another layer to consider here.
I'm all ears.
His casual tone, the almost humorous way he addressed those serious accusations, could be a calculated move to downplay the situation, to make it seem less threatening.
Almost like he's saying, this doesn't faze me. I've seen it all before.
Exactly, and that nonchalance, that unflappable demeanor, is a power move in itself. It sends a message. I'm not rattled by this. I'm above the fray.
He's almost daring people to try and take him down, knowing that he's got the experience, the resources, and the sheer willpower to weather any storm.
And let's not underestimate the element of self-preservation here. By downplaying the Jay-Z situation, he's also protecting his own brand, distancing himself from any potential fallout.
Right, he's not naive. He understands the interconnectedness of the music industry, how one scandal can have a ripple effect across the entire landscape.
So in a way, his reaction, or lack of reaction, is a masterclass in crisis management. He's acknowledging the situation without getting bogged down in it, maintaining his image of strength and control.
So you're playing a game, and he's playing it brilliantly.
Absolutely, and it's a game that he's been winning for years, consistently defying expectations and redefining what it means to be a successful artist in the 21st century.
He's constantly evolving, adapting to the changing landscape, and that's what makes him such a captivating figure to study.
His career is like a case study in entrepreneurship, in branding, in navigating the complex dynamics of power and influence.
He's a true iconoclast, someone who's forged his own path and continues to inspire both admiration and, let's be honest, a healthy dose of fear in his competitors.
He's someone you don't want to underestimate, that's for sure. But even with his success, his undeniable influence, there's a vulnerability that shines through in this interview.
Tell me more.
When he talks about those early days with Diddy, about recognizing that ambition, that drive to make it big, there's a hint of nostalgia there, maybe even a touch of regret.
You think so? I read it as more of a detached observation, like he's analyzing a specimen under a microscope.
Perhaps, but there's a certain wistfulness in his tone, a sense that he recognizes the price of success, the sacrifices that have to be made along the way.
Yeah, he's been through a lot, both personally and professionally. Maybe he's reflecting on the choices he's made, the path he's taken.
It's possible. And that humanizes him, makes him more relatable, even as he's projecting this image of strength and invincibility.
It's a reminder that even the most powerful figures, the seemingly untouchable icons, are still human, still grappling with the complexities of life and the consequences of their choices.
And that, I think, is the most valuable insight this interview offers. It peels back the layers of fame and fortune, revealing the man behind the myth, the artist who's still evolving, still searching for meaning and connection, in a world that often celebrates superficiality over substance.
It's a reminder that we're all on a journey, regardless of our status or achievements, and sometimes the most insightful observations come from those who have seemingly reached the pinnacle of success, only to discover that the view from the top isn't always what they expected.
It's a humbling thought, and one that's worth pondering as we continue our deep dive into the world of 50 Cent, Diddy, and Jay-Z.
Okay, so we've talked about 50's strategic positioning, his mastery of the media game, and even glimpsed a bit of the man behind the persona. But there's one crucial aspect of this interview, that we haven't addressed yet.
And what's that?
The underlying tension, the unspoken rivalry. That permeates every word, every carefully chosen phrase.
Ah, yes. The elephant in the room. The unspoken competition that fuels the hip-hop industry, driving artists to push boundaries, to innovate, and to constantly strive for dominance.
It's the lifeblood of the genre, the creative force that pushes these artists to be their best, even if it means stepping on a few toes along the way.
And 50 Cent, despite his outward demeanor of detachment, is clearly not immune to this competitive spirit.
For sure. His comments about Diddy, his analysis of the Jay-Z situation, it's all infused with a subtle but undeniable sense of one-upmanship.
He's not just observing, he's subtly asserting his own dominance, positioning himself as the ultimate survivor, the one who's weathered the storms and emerged stronger than ever.
Like he's sending a message to the entire industry. I'm still here, I'm still relevant, and I'm not going anywhere.
And that message, delivered with his signature blend of confidence and swagger, is sure to reverberate through the halls of power, sending ripples of both admiration and apprehension.
It's a reminder that 50 Cent is a force to be reckoned with, a master strategist who's always one step ahead of the game.
And as we delve deeper into this interview, we'll uncover even more layers of his complex personality, his intricate web of relationships, and the motivations that drive him to continue pushing the boundaries of the music industry.
This deep dive is far from over, folks.
We've only just scratched the surface. This fascinating world.
I know, right? As we're wrapping this up, this deep dive, I keep coming back to one question. What does 50 want to achieve with all of this? Is it legacy? Power? Something else entirely?
It's a question worth pondering. And I think the answer might be multifaceted, On one hand, there's a clear drive to solidify his legacy, to be remembered not just as a rapper, but as a cultural icon, a businessman, a visionary.
Right, he's building an empire that transcends the fleeting nature of fame in the music industry. It's like he's saying, I'm not just going to be a flash in the pan, I'm going to create something that lasts.
Exactly. And to do that, he needs to maintain a certain level of relevance, of engagement with the cultural conversation. His comments about Diddy and Jay-Z, whether strategic or genuine, keep him in the spotlight. Ensure that his voice is heard.
It's like he's playing a high-stakes game of chess, carefully positioning his pieces, anticipating his opponent's moves, and always thinking several steps ahead.
And that strategic mindset is key to understanding his actions. He's not just reacting. He's responding in a calculated way, using every opportunity to further his own agenda.
But it's not all about cold, hard strategy, is it? There's also a sense of genuine passion, a love for the game, that shines through in everything he does.
Oh, absolutely. You can't achieve this level of success without a deep-seated passion for what you do. And 50 Cent, despite his tough exterior, clearly has that fire in his belly.
It's what fueled his rise to the top. And it's what keeps him pushing boundaries, even as he expands his empire, beyond the confines of the music industry.
He's a restless soul, a constant innovator, always seeking new challenges, new ways to express himself creatively.
That's what makes him such a compelling figure to study. He's not content to rest on his laurels. He's constantly evolving, reinventing himself, and setting new standards for what's possible.
He's a reminder that success is not a destination, but a journey, a constant process of growth, adaptation, and reinvention.
And for those of us observing from the sidelines, it's an incredibly inspiring spectacle to witness.
It's a masterclass in entrepreneurship and branding, in navigating the complex dynamics of power and influence.
He's showing us that the rules are meant to be broken, that limitations are self-imposed, and that with enough grit, determination, and a healthy dose of strategic brilliance, anything is possible.
He's a true iconoclast, a disruptor, and a visionary who continues to shape the cultural landscape in profound ways.
As we wrap up this deep dive, I can't help but feel a sense of anticipation, of wondering what he'll do next, what boundaries he'll push, what new heights he'll reach.
Because one thing's for sure, 50 Cent is not done yet. He's just getting started.
And we'll be here watching closely, eager to see what the next chapter of his extraordinary story holds. So to our listener, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of 50 Cent, Diddy, and Jay-Z. We've explored their intricate relationships, their strategic moves, and the enduring power of authenticity in a constantly evolving industry.
Remember, the world of hip-hop is a microcosm of the larger world, a stage where ambition, talent, and strategic brilliance collide. And by understanding the dynamics at play, by analyzing the motivations and actions of these cultural icons, we gain valuable insights into the forces that shape our own lives.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep. Until next time.
Sound the alarm, I'm coming up. We'll have a ball, I'm sweet like a buttercup. You're Barbie doll, show them all what I'm made of. Strut down the hall, won't stop till I get enough.